Good afternoon to all. Let me proceed further. And I had discussed the first book by the same author, that is Klaus Krippendorf, in the first video, earlier video of mine. And in this particular video walk, I would be taking you through another book of his titled as Content Analysis and Introduction to his Methodology. And this is the second edition. If I'm not wrong, this book is a bit old one, and this is published in 2004, whereas the earlier book, if we look into it, the earlier one, that is okay, it is published in 2017. I'm talking about the book that was discussed earlier, which is Content Analysis, the guidebook by the same author. So here in this particular video also of mine, I would be focusing on the contents page only more than anything else, so that you get an idea, and some of you who are interested, you can go ahead and later on you can read it completely. However, in my workshops, I definitely take all of you, whosoever has attended must have seen that I am a meticulous person, and I prefer to go the hard way of understanding the basic steps as well as the procedures and the processes which are present for the topic that has been taken care of in the workshop. So here in the content analysis, you will see the author has first of all given you what is the conceptualizing process all about in the content analysis. So here he has discussed about the historical part of it, what are the precurses, number one. Number two, qualitative newspaper analysis. You will see that a lot of effort has been taken care of for the newspaper analysis, and one of the HODs for the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, wherein I was working in one of the private colleges, they used to tell me, both husband and wife, that yes, we are very seriously involved in the content analysis for some of the newspapers like Indian Express. So I said, what happened to Indian Express? Because I know my father also loved that paper, and till his last day, I should say that he was restricted only and adamant to read Indian Express as compared to the other newspapers like Times of India, Hindustan Times, Economic Times, etc., etc., etc. His favorite was always Indian Express, and he always stressed upon that, saying that one must read more of Indian Express more as compared to the other newspapers. So you will see that and my introduction to the qualitative analysis also came through the introduction about the qualitative studies of the newspapers. So here he is discussing about the quantitative newspaper analysis. Then he is talking about early content analysis, propaganda analysis, content analysis generalized, and then came in what he calls it as a computer text analysis, qualitative approaches. Now remember that this book is published in 2004, and now with the big data analysis and the platforms like Python or RStudios, machine learning, neural networks, and artificial intelligence, I think textual analysis has taken quite a role right now, and you will see all kind of things being taken care of in terms of the textual analysis. And this is part one, and part two, if you look around, you will see that they are talking about what we call it as the conceptual foundation, giving the definitions out here, then the epistemological elaborations, examples, and the framework. Now you see, since this is also a part of qualitative, frameworks are really important, and here you will see the author has discussed about text, research questions, context is really important, then analytical constructs, inferences. I don't know how many of you are got the knowledge about inferences and arguments. Maybe I'll have to explain to you what exactly these are. Maybe in some other videos I'll have to do it. Then validating the evidences that you have already collected, that is also important. Then comes what he calls it as the contrast contrast and comparisons. Now try to understand, being a student, a very serious student of logic as a substance, as a subject, I would say, there is a lot of difference between the words that we are usually talking about. Like for example, opposites. Again, I see that majority of us do not know the differences between all these things. Contrast, contradictory, okay, and I have got another word which is called as contrary. Now that's what I said, even using the softwares, whatever the softwares are there, maybe later on I'll be focusing on that. These four terminologies, opposites, contrast, contradictory, contrary, are very, very important, and you will see that it is the book of this particular one that they have really discussed about inferences, validating, and contrast and comparison. The next one, the third one that they're talking about is the uses and the inferences. So you have got the traditional overviews, extrapolations, like for example, being again somebody who is exposed to the big data, we know what is the importance of trends, patterns and differences. Though Neeraj sir has really worked hard, and he even tells us, the meaning of differences. Then he also talks a lot about and introduces the concept of relationship in a very nice manner. So this is also something that we need to focus upon. Then he also talks about associations and comparisons. So if you see some of his videos, you will be able to understand the importance of all these terminologies. Then comes the standards that we need to focus upon, and here you will see identifications, evaluations, judgment, indices, symptoms, linguistic representations. Now you see, the concept of representations itself is a very strong one. First of all, it is a presentation, and then you are doing what we call it as a representation of something. Conversations, institutional successes, areas of likely success. So you will see that these are very important for us to understand and figure out as to how to apply them in content analysis. That's number two. Then comes their discussion on what I will call it as the components of content analysis. You must understand this thing fully as a part of our research that we are taking care through the content analysis. So here you can talk about what is the logic of content analysis designs. Now this is very important. How many of us really focus? So they are talking about content analysis designs are there. Number one, what are the components of it? How to proceed further with the quantitative and qualitative content analysis. The next one comes about is designs preparatory to content analysis, operationalizing knowledge. Now you understand. Now you see, my only motive and main intention of introducing and reading the contents page rather than the entire chapter is to introduce to you that please, for God's sake, do not take it for granted that yes, content analysis 1 2 3 and then you have done. No, it involves a quite a good serious study, and this is how you're supposed to go further. And I'm just showcasing to you the text right now so that you can lay your hands. All of them are soft copies available across the net, and you can take them over and you can understand as to how the things are carrying forward. And then I will go ahead and show it to you that yes, this is how the actual content analysis has to be taken care of with your hands-on experience of it basically. So here we have testing of the analytical construct as hypotheses, developing a discriminant function for it, then designs exceeding the content analysis, that is through comparing the similar phenomena, testing the relationship, then testing the hypotheses concerning how content analysis results relate to the other variables. Now you see, we do correlation and in quantitative studies, and we are able to see how the variables are correlated or how they are related with each other in terms of the numbers. Then then positive sign or the negative sign, and the direction in which they are in. However, when we come to the qualitative studies also, we need to focus on these things. Now, however, I'm looking forward for a book which can really introduces what we call it as the in the I would say the qualitative studies itself, that yes, is there something wherein if we have identified univariate variables and how to go ahead and perform the analysis for that. Similarly, for bivariate, then comes in what we call it as the multivariate, and you will see that these kind of things are also available in qualitative also, and we will have a look at it. The next topic which this book published in 2004, imagine, is unitizing the entire thing, wherein you are talking about the types of units which are there for us, and try to go ahead and remember that we have got sampling unit, recording or coding units, and the contextual units are there. Then what are the different ways of defining the units? The physical distinctions are there, syntactical are there, categorical are there, propositional are there, thematic distinctions are there. Now, for example, for me who comes from the background of English philosophy, I have seen that defining the units in terms of categories or syntax or the physical units becomes very easy. However, somebody who's coming from these non-philosophical or non-literature background, for them these kind of distinctions are very difficult to understand, and they take it for granted that okay, this is how. No, even to come to the level of these things, I would say takes a lot of effort, and we need to understand as to how these things are developed and taken care for us. Now, similarly, you have got what we call it as the sampling. So here, as discussed in the first book, here you have got so many varieties of sampling similar to our quantity studies, and from here how to proceed further to select the appropriate one and understanding it is more important. So I will go ahead and I would say that yes, this is in that manner a very important part of the book itself. Then comes what we call it as the coding and recording also. This is very important part of any content analysis, and you will see that yes, how to proceed further for coder qualifications. Now you see later on you will find it out when you pick up the book by Creswell, and you will see that he is talking about the trainers are required for the data collections, and there it is not just like that he has mentioned or the other. So there is a lot of things which are taking place, how to go about it. Similarly, there is something which we call it as coder training. Now I don't know, in India I haven't met somebody who is coming from this background. However, in other countries, when I was introduced to them, I asked them why they have chosen this thing, what is the reason behind it, and how do they take care. So there are quite a lot of things which are available, and maybe in my future videos on content analysis, thematic analysis, as well as the other kind of analysis which is present in the qualitative, I would be showcasing it. Now similarly, approaches to defining the semantics of data. This is something that one has to focus upon, so that when you are writing your content analysis, you are able to use these words also in your reporting or interpretation of your own data analysis that has been taken care of. Next comes the records, which are really important for us. Then the data languages. So data also has a language of its own. So looking at the data, you are able to understand, for example, the place of the data language, what are the definitions, how the variables are there, what do you mean by nominal variables over there, orderings which are present, chains, recursions, cubes, trees. Now you see, some of us who are into big data analysis, and we know how to deal with algorithms, decision trees which are there, or the clusterings, regression, or dimensional reduction things which are taking place, you will understand that orderings are very important. So here how to understand them is also being taken care, because you use them in your own content analysis, and then you portray them in your own publication, that you or your in your own paper before you send it to the publication. Then the metrics that you are talking about, so these are the ones similar to the quanti, and you know how to proceed further with these things. Then comes the real thing, and that is analytical constructs. Now this is where I would say one learns how to understand the constructs, you know, and how to see the relationship between two variables, and from the collection of the variables how a model is being prepared. And once the model is there in front of you, how do you understand the first order, second order, third order, depending upon these constructs itself. So you have got the sources of certainty, then you have got a variety of constructs which you cannot find it apart from first order, second order, and third order, or maybe I would say a complex models which are there. However, in qualitative, especially in content analysis, you will see that here the distinctions are made in terms of the extrapolations, applications of the standard, indices and symptoms, representations, conversations, interactions, and institutional. So when your hands-on experience has been given to you, you would understand as to how to know them also more and more. Then comes what we call it as the sources of uncertainty. It's not necessary that everything that you are collecting or using in content analysis is fruitful. There are certain other things which are not good ones also. The next one is analytical parts and the evaluative techniques which are available. So you have got analytical representational techniques like tabulations, cross tabulation. I mean, these are certain things which must ring bells in your ears, I would say, because these are something that you do even in quanti. So the moment you complete over there and come over here, these things becomes much more easier for you to understand and proceed further with your I would say analysis in the content analysis itself. Now reliability is one more thing that here they focus upon. So you can see what are the different types of reliability, what are the conditions, what are the reliability data. Then alpha agreement. Now you see, if you attend some of the workshop, they don't talk about what is alpha agreement. Like you have got the Cronbach alpha over there, and you know what is the importance of it. Now here also you will have to go through what we call it as the alpha agreement for the coding. And if it is done, for example, two observers binary data, two observers many nominal categories, many observers many nominal, so you will understand how the things are coming in. Similarly, what is the statistical properties of alpha? So here he has mentioned, can there be other coefficient? And now you understand why I have decided that we are talking about, and I see majority of the scholars saying that we want to learn content analysis through NVivo. My question is, before you can even enter into NVivo, are you aware of these things also? So please learn all these things side by side by reading these kind of books, wherein you are able to understand. And once these things have been satisfied, it is then that you enter into NVivo or Atlas TI or MaxQDA, and then you can carry forward. Okay, and here we have got the computer aids. For example, you have got the computational content analysis, textual analysis, then interactive hermeneutic explorations. For example, depending upon your philosophical assumptions, if you have chosen structuralism, post-structuralism, hermeneutics, feminism, or let's say a simple thing like descriptivism, operationalism, how to apply these things over here also side by side. Now in the same manner, you can understand about the validity, and then comes the practical guide, which you know, I should not be in fact touching this right now. When I would be going ahead with the hands-on experience, maybe you would be able to understand, like designing an analysis, how do you design it, writing a research proposal, applying the research design, narrating the results of yours, how do you narrate it and you put it into the writing part of it. So I think this gives you a rough picture with the introduction to the contents page for this particular book which I have taken over. And now you must be understood the sequence that I am going in, so that if you read them in this manner, you would be able to understand that yes, this is how the content analysis is being taken care of, irrespective of the part whether you use a tool or not, which I'll be discussing later on. However, these are the repercussions that yes, if you are performing or conducting a content analysis paper or a research or a project for yourself, you should be knowing all these things. So let me come up with more information in my next video. Till then, thank you for watching and take care. Bye.